Abdaal, the productivity YouTuber with over 5 million subscribers, recently said this about me.
It sounds like Morgan is an overachiever, given that she is doing a PhD, has a YouTube channel, is a teacher, is a volunteer, and also does contract work. That is the absolute hallmark of an overachiever.
Thank you, Ali, for that introduction, and hi! My name is Morgan, and I am that overachiever. And that is not a compliment, that is a problem, because a few months ago, I was so overwhelmed with how much I had put on my plate that I went seeking out productivity advice from anywhere I could get it. And that happened to be the same time that I saw Ali Abdaal, one of the biggest productivity YouTubers of all time, had posted on his community tab that he was looking for his subscribers to send in their productivity problems and get personalized feedback. So, of course, I jumped at the opportunity. Lo and behold, a couple weeks later, somebody from his team reached out to let me know that Ali Abdaal himself was going to respond to my productivity problem, and the video would be out in a couple weeks. And Ali gave me valuable professional feedback that did not disappoint, and I have applied some of his productivity techniques to my own life and my PhD, which I'm working on. And those techniques that I did implement have been helping immensely, so of course, I wanted to share them with you. I'll link Ali's original video in the description box below because he responded to 2 other people other than myself, and I'm not going to touch on all of the feedback he gave me in this video, so if you want more advice, click the link below. The main problem that I asked for Ali's help with was getting motivated to work on my PhD when I had a whole bunch of other little tasks that I had to do that were easier to do and required less energy to do and were more fun to do. And the first piece of advice that Ali gave me was that I needed to reduce the activation energy for the task of doing my PhD to overcome that initial hump of procrastination. And here is one way he suggested that I do this.
So there's often a lot of emotional or cognitive friction if we feel that it's unclear. So if, for example, I was Morgan, I'd be making a plan the night before. I'd be saying to myself, okay, I'm gonna figure out exactly what my plan is to work on the PhD the following day.
When you make a plan the night before, though, it should be specific. So not just, I'm gonna work on my PhD tomorrow, but rather specifically what aspect of the PhD are you gonna work on? Like how many words, how long for, what chunk of the PhD, what tasks do you want to get done? So last night, for instance, was a Sunday night, and at 9 p.m. I hopped on a call with my brother, who is one of my accountability partners, and together we planned our Mondays. And in that plan, I wrote down that I wanted to work on my PhD from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And in that time, I wanted to work on the draft of my conference paper that I'm currently in the process of writing. So this morning, when I sat down at my desk and I opened my computer, I didn't have to go through the process of figuring out what I was going to do, which would just slow down the process of doing it. Instead, I went straight to my conference paper draft, I opened it up, and I got to work. This planning and specificity is so important, especially for a massive task like writing a PhD dissertation, because there are so many tiny things that go into that and so many things to choose from, and the whole thing itself is so overwhelming that it can really just halt my productivity entirely. So knowing exactly what to start working on reduces some of the friction of starting that task. Another thing I've started doing, which wasn't recommended by Ali but has been helping me recently, was to download the app Aura Health onto my phone. It's a meditation and mental wellness app, and I've had these before. I've used Headspace, and I even used the paid version of the Calm app, and I really enjoy having a dedicated service for mental clarity and well-being right in my phone so that I can access it whenever I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious. So when Aura reached out wanting to offer me an affiliate link and a discount for my subscribers, I immediately said yes, and I've been using Aura ever since. What makes Aura stand out is that they have partnered with experts around the world to provide a variety of programs and meditations and sleep stories and other types of mental wellness services. And then as a user, I get a personalized dashboard that picks and chooses from these thousands of programs so that I always have access to the one that I personally need. So if you're also looking for a paid meditation type app to keep you on track, then you can use my affiliate link in the description box below for 25% off any Aura subscription, plus the first 7 days free. And if you do, you'll be supporting my channel as well for no extra cost. Okay, now let me tell you about the second tip Ali gave me that I am applying to my PhD, and this one he got from the time period in which he was working on his book, Feel Good Productivity.
There were 2 occasions when I actually got the work done. Number 1, where I just set a rule for myself that 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock every morning, I am not allowed to do anything other than work on the book. And even if I don't do anything, I have to just sit there for those 3 hours. and I'm not allowed to schedule anything, not allowed to do anything. It's just like I had this as a rule for myself. And on the days where I stuck to the rule, then I made loads of progress in the edits for my book.
This is the second thing that I've started doing. I've started setting aside the time period from about 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. to work on my PhD and my PhD alone. So I get up around 7 or 8 a.m., I have breakfast, I read my book, whatever I need to get myself out of bed and into the day, and then I turn off all notifications on my phone and my watch and my computer, and I just work on the PhD until noon-ish. And this doesn't mean that I am working on the PhD for that whole time, rather it means that I'm not working on anything else. So it's totally fine if I just sit there doing nothing, and it's true that I do a lot of nothing in that time period, but because there's nothing else to do other than my PhD, eventually I do convince my brain that working on the PhD would be more fun than nothing, and I get myself back into the writing mood or the reading mood, or I find some aspect of the PhD that I can get into in that moment. For me, it's very important that this time happens first thing in the morning, because then as other tasks accumulate and people contact me and email me and ask me for things, I still have time in the rest of the day to respond to those things. I worry that if I pushed my PhD time to the afternoon or the evening, I would be way too distracted by all the other things that have come onto my plate until that point, and I wouldn't be able to focus on the PhD. So for me, it just works best having this first thing in the morning, but you can do it at whatever time works best for you. And here's the third and final thing I took away from Ali Abdaal's video that has seriously helped me since watching it, and it's not exactly a piece of advice, but I'll let Ali tell you.
The other problem Morgan is having is that the problem with not being able to focus for 4 hours. The thing here is that, like, I can't focus for 4 hours. Very few people can actually focus for 4 hours. I think 4 hours is the absolute upper limit of being able to focus on a single task.
Honestly, this was just really helpful to hear. In my video that I sent to Ali, I expressed some disappointment that I couldn't work for 4 straight hours, like, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. every day. And I was disappointed by this because I've seen PhD students on YouTube, especially in the sciences, who kind of say that they start working at 9 a.m. and they don't even leave their office until 9 p.m. or they're working well into the night and they've just got so many papers that they're reading, etc. And so I felt like, as somebody who sometimes only got in a half an hour, 2 hours of work in a day, or maybe when I'm feeling poorly, no hours of work in a day, that I was insufficient and doing the PhD wrong and basically an imposter, that maybe I just didn't have enough passion to do a PhD because I couldn't bring myself to work for that length of time. And I just really didn't have anybody else to compare myself to, because prior to going into the PhD, I didn't know anybody that was doing a PhD or had a PhD. So I had no idea what was expected of me, except for what I saw online. But as we all know, what we see online is highly filtered and edited to make people look better than they are. And I think that online sometimes people inflate the amount of work they do on their PhD, or it could just be that I was self-conscious about how much I was working on my PhD. So when I heard other people talking about it, I heard an amount of time that they would work that was just higher than my amount of time because I felt so poorly about myself and I was kind of projecting that onto the video. Or maybe those people really do just work for that amount of time and they're just really into their PhD work. But for me, hearing Ali Abdaal say that 4 hours of solid focused work on something is a bit ambitious for a day was deeply comforting. And this is especially true because a couple years ago, I had an even worse relationship to my PhD work. And as soon as it would become apparent in a day that I wasn't going to get some imaginary number of hours of work done on my PhD, I would just have a breakdown and get no work done. So keeping the amount of work that I can get done in a day more flexible and more manageable, and knowing that that is a normal approach to doing a PhD or any kind of long-term solo deep work, focused work project, that's just so helpful. So thank you, Ali, for managing my expectations about my own work abilities. Anyway, Ali Abdaal recommended a lot of other stuff to me in that video, so if you want to check out the entire video, I will link it below. These are just the top tips that I've actually implemented since the video came out. I'm also going to link my Aura Health affiliate link and discount below, so click on that if you're looking to do some high quality meditations straight from your phone, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Bye, everybody.